There's a moment in life when the noise fades, the crowd disappears, and you're left with nothing but yourself. That's when the real work begins. Because growth doesn't happen when you're surrounded by applause. It happens when no one is watching. When you're alone, you have two choices. You can let the silence break you, or you can use it to rebuild yourself. The truth is, solitude is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally. The world will tell you that being alone is something to fear, but the strongest people in history didn't rise in the spotlight. They sharpened their minds in the dark. You don't discover your true strength when you have a support system holding you up. You find it when there's no one to catch you and you still stand tall. When you sit in that quiet room with your thoughts, that's when you come face to face with who you really are. No masks, no pretending, just raw, unfiltered truth. Pain, struggle, self-doubt. These things don't break you, they shape you. Every battle you fight in isolation prepares you for the world ahead. Every tear you shed in silence waters the future you're about to build. Do you want to master your craft? Then embrace the grind when no one is watching. Do you want unshakable confidence? Then learn to trust yourself when there's no one else to turn to. Do you want success? Then stop waiting for validation. The real transformation isn't happening in front of an audience. It's happening when you're locked in, focused, doing the hard work that no one else sees. The world celebrates the result, but the real victory happens in private. So when you find yourself alone, don't fear it, own it. Because this is where you grow. This is where you become unstoppable. And this is where your future is forged. There's a reason the strongest minds are built in solitude. When you're alone, you have no choice but to face yourself, your fears, your insecurities, your doubts. There's no one to lean on, no distractions to escape into, just you and your thoughts. And in that space, something powerful happens. You start to realize that the only person responsible for your growth is you. Solitude forces you to develop mental resilience. It teaches you how to navigate life's toughest moments without needing constant reassurance from the outside world. When no one is there to pick you up, you learn how to rise on your own. And that's where real strength is built. Not in comfort, not in validation, but in the silent battles you fight alone. Emotional toughness isn't developed when life is easy. It's forged in the moments when you feel isolated, when the weight of the world is on your shoulders and you have to find a way to push forward. It's in those moments of solitude that you learn to regulate your emotions, to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. You realize that you are stronger than your fears, that you can handle more than you ever thought possible. Being alone also forces you to become self-reliant. You stop looking for others to fix your problems or tell you what to do. You start trusting yourself, making decisions with confidence and standing firm in your beliefs. The ability to be alone without feeling lost is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. It means you're no longer dependent on external factors to feel whole. You become someone who doesn't just survive in solitude, you thrive in it. Self-discovery happens in silence because for the first time there is no noise drowning out your thoughts. The world is constantly pulling you in different directions, opinions, expectations, distractions. But when you're alone, all of that fades away. It's in the quiet that you begin to hear your own voice, the one that often gets lost in the chaos. You start to understand what truly matters to you, what drives you, what makes you come alive. When you strip away the influence of others, you are left with raw honesty. You begin to ask yourself the questions that most people avoid. Who am I when no one is watching? What do I really want? What am I afraid of? The answers don't come easily, but they come piece by piece, revealing the deepest parts of who you are. You start to recognize patterns, Habits that hold you back, thoughts that limit you, beliefs that are not truly yours but were placed on you by others. And in that awareness, transformation begins. Silence teaches you to listen, not just to the world around you, but to yourself. You notice the way your mind works, the emotions you suppress, the dreams you buried under fear and doubt. When you are alone, you no longer perform for anyone. You don't have to prove anything, impress anyone, or meet expectations. You just exist, and in that existence, you uncover the truth about yourself. Growth is impossible without self-awareness, and self-awareness is impossible without solitude. It is only when you sit in stillness that you begin to see yourself clearly. You stop chasing validation, stop running from discomfort, and start building a life that is truly yours. Growth requires discomfort because nothing strong is ever built in ease. When you're alone without distractions or external validation, you are forced to sit with the parts of yourself that you would rather ignore. It's uncomfortable, it's raw, but it's necessary. Growth isn't about staying in familiar places. It's about stepping into the unknown, embracing the uncertainty, and pushing through the resistance that tries to hold you back. Discomfort challenges you in ways comfort never will. When you feel lost, when doubts creep in, when the silence feels too heavy, that's when transformation is happening. Every struggle, every moment of isolation, every difficult realization is shaping you into someone stronger. You don't grow by avoiding pain. You grow by facing it, by learning from it, by refusing to let it break you. The people who evolve the most are the ones who don't run from discomfort. They lean into it. They understand that every moment of loneliness, every setback, every painful truth is an opportunity to build resilience. The process is never easy. It demands patience, persistence, and an unshakable belief that the struggle is leading somewhere greater. When you are alone, when everything feels uncertain, when growth feels more like breaking than building, remember that this is the process. Growth is uncomfortable because it's stretching you, forcing you to let go of what no longer serves you, making space for the person you are meant to become. Independence is power because the moment you stop relying on others to define your worth, your decisions, or your path, you become unstoppable. When you are alone, you learn what it truly means to stand on your own. There is no one to validate your choices, no one to reassure you, no one to take responsibility for your success or your failures, and that is where real strength is born. Relying on yourself doesn't mean rejecting help or isolating yourself from the world. It means knowing that even if everything and everyone around you disappears, you will still be able to move forward. It's about trusting your instincts, making your own decisions, and not waiting for approval before taking action. Too many people hesitate, waiting for someone to tell them they're ready, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to walk the path with them. But real independence means knowing that you can walk it alone, even when it's difficult, even when it's uncertain. When you become truly independent, you stop seeking permission. You stop allowing others to dictate what is possible for you. You stop relying on external circumstances to give you direction. You take full ownership of your life, your growth, and your future. That kind of self-reliance is rare and it is powerful. Because when you no longer depend on others to keep you moving, nothing can hold you back. Isolation sparks creativity because when the world goes silent, your mind is finally free to explore. In solitude, there are no external voices shaping your thoughts, no distractions pulling you away from your imagination. It's just you, your ideas, and the limitless space to create something extraordinary. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history were born in moments of isolation. When you step away from the noise, when you stop absorbing the constant opinions and influences of others, you begin to tap into your own originality. You start thinking differently, questioning things, seeing connections that you never noticed before. Creativity isn't about doing what's expected. It's about breaking patterns, challenging norms, and daring to create something that has never existed before. Solitude gives you the patience to experiment, to fail, to try again without the pressure of an audience. It allows you to take risks that you might shy away from in the presence of others. It's in those quiet hours when no one is watching that you write, build, design, and dream without limits. True creativity isn't about impressing people. It's about expressing something real. And that kind of expression can only come when you are alone with your thoughts, free from judgment, free from expectation, and free to create something that is entirely your own. Mastery demands solitude because true excellence isn't achieved in front of an audience. It's built in the quiet, disciplined hours when no one is watching. The most skilled, the most successful, the most unstoppable people in the world didn't reach their peak by seeking attention. They reached it by dedicating themselves to their craft when no one was clapping, no one was praising, and no one was even paying attention. When you are alone, there are no shortcuts, no easy paths, just the relentless process of repetition, failure, and improvement. Mastery requires patience. And patience is something you develop in solitude. It's about doing the work when there's no instant gratification, no applause, no immediate reward. Most people give up because they want results without the process. But the process is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Isolation forces you to confront the weaknesses that need sharpening. It gives you the space to refine your skills without the pressure of performing for others. When you commit to mastery, you realize that the long hours, the frustration, the solitude, it's all necessary because mastery isn't about talent alone. It's about the discipline to show up day after day, even when no one is there to see it. Loneliness is a teacher because it reveals lessons that comfort never will. When you're alone, you start to see yourself clearly, not just the version you show to the world, but the real, unfiltered you. It forces you to sit with your emotions, to face your fears, to acknowledge the things you would rather avoid. And in that discomfort, you grow. Most people run from loneliness, distracting themselves with noise, company, or meaningless distractions. But those who embrace it understand that solitude isn't emptiness, it's an opportunity. It teaches you patience because you learn to sit in stillness without seeking escape. It teaches you resilience because you realize that you can stand on your own. It teaches you self-worth because you stop relying on others to make you feel valuable. Loneliness strips away the illusions. It shows you who you are when there's no one to impress, no one to validate you, no one to lean on. It's in those moments that you learn how to be your own source of strength. Because when you stop fearing loneliness and start learning from it, you become someone who no longer depends on the world to feel whole. The comeback is born in the dark because transformation never happens in the spotlight. It happens when no one is watching, when no one believes in you, when you're left with nothing but your own will to rise. Every great success story has a chapter where everything fell apart, where the world counted them out, where they stood alone with nothing but a choice: give up or fight back. It's in those unseen moments when you're struggling in silence that your real strength is built. When no one is cheering, when no one is checking in, when you're doubting yourself but pushing forward anyway, that's when the foundation of your future is being laid. The darkness is in your downfall. It's your training ground. It's where the pain shapes you, where the setbacks refine you, where the failures teach you what it takes to rise. The world only sees the comeback, the success, the moment you break through. But what they don't see is everything that happened in the quiet. The long nights of self-doubt, the lonely battles with discipline, the invisible work that no one noticed, every moment you spent alone, grinding, believing in yourself when no one else did. That's what built the version of you that's ready to step into the light. So when you find yourself alone, don't resist it, embrace it. This is where the real work happens. This is where you sharpen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and build the kind of resilience that no one can take away from you. Growth isn't meant to be easy, and it isn't meant to be witnessed by the world. It's meant to be fought for in silence, earned in the unseen hours, and revealed only when the time is right. Because when you rise, when you step into the world fully formed, unshaken, unstoppable, people will see the success, but they won't see the struggle. They'll see the result, but they won't know the quiet battles you fought to get there. And that's fine, because you will know. You will know that the strength, the wisdom, and the power you carry weren't given to you. They were built alone. And that is what makes them unbreakable.